horrible night to have a curse. While Simon's Quest might be the black sheep of the family, hanging out with Judgment and the N64 games, there's a lot of Castlevania to love. Whips and bats, bosses and sub-weapons, we've decided it's high time to sink our teeth into this minefield of awesome and decide which Vampire Slayer is supreme. Symphony of the Night might have been Alucard's finest hour, but his first playable appearance was Castlevania 3, released in the States in 1990. The game's lead, Simon's ancestor Trevor Belmont, had to best Alucard in combat before adding him to the roster, along with the mage Sifa and the thief Grant. Each outcast came with their own set of unique abilities. The path was split up at different points in the journey, inviting a new kind of replayability. The North American version is actually more difficult than the original Japanese release, so if you think the character leveling and save files of the newer games makes the experience too easy, Dracula's Curse is easy to appreciate as one of the most challenging and rewarding platformers of its era. To some, it's the sequel to Simon's Quest, to others it's a remake of the original NES classic. But anyone who's played Super Castlevania 4 knows it's a beautiful tribute to everything that makes these games fun. One of the easier games in the series, it's known more for its animation and detailed backdrops. Simon could now fling the whip in multiple directions, swing across gaps, and use a sub-weapon. These tricks, combined with more control when Simon jumped, took the edge off the difficulty often associated with the rigid pitfall diving jumps prevalent in previous games. Mode 7 on the SNES let the haunted castle rotate around the hero in original ways, and the 16-bit soundtrack is a soothing tribute to the first three Castlevanias. The direct sequel to the Game Boy Advance's Aria of Sorrow landed on the Nintendo DS shortly after launch, and with fresh new hardware and a friendly, less mature art style, Dawn of Sorrow brought a lot of hype. At this point, the Metroidvania moniker had been established, with Dawn of Sorrow checking all the boxes. However, this entry to the franchise brought along familiar characters, references, and lore from the previous game that culminated into a compelling story set in the year 2036 that distanced itself from the predictable narrative Castlevania had established. In addition, the systems and mechanics introduced in Aria of Sorrow were all improved upon, along with the DS's slick sprites and animation, and a soundtrack regarded as second only to Symphony of the Night, made for a title worthy of the lineage coursing through its veins. Cheesy anime cutscenes and voice acting aside, Rondo of Blood is arguably the pinnacle of the traditional style of Castlevania games, and set the stage for its eventual sequel, Symphony of the Night. Not to be confused with Dracula X, Rondo of Blood pitted Richter Belmont against the forces of Dracula, spread out over 9 amazing stages. Rather than a straightforward path, progression branched occasionally, as players could pick alternate routes to take in their march toward rescuing Richter's beloved Annette. Those with a thirst for exploration could unlock a second playable character, Maria Renard, who came with an oddball set of abilities including attacking with doves and sub-weapons, tapping into her primal instincts. Though North America had to wait for over a decade to experience the action, we'd say it was well worth it. From the moment Symphony of the Night begins, it's hard not to be dazzled by its crisp, 2D sprites, orchestra-level music, and hilarious voice acting.
How about you?
Once you get past the initial charm, you're still left with a precise action platformer that set the standard for years to come. Symphony of the Night is true to its Castlevania roots, honoring the classics by referencing old enemies and gameplay, but it also created a new, unique genre that blends those traits with addictive RPG elements that felt fresh and rewarding. Farming for rare item drops, leveling up Alucard, and backtracking through the castle to uncover hidden skills and secrets brought new life to the franchise. Those points, along with an incredible secret that makes the game twice as long, established Symphony of the Night as a cult classic, and a blueprint for the genre that influences multiple franchises to this day and in the future to come.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh.